Can everyone hear me all right? I'm a bit loud anyway, or well, my mom would say that. So thank you all for joining us today. Welcome to the Texas Science Festival. We're nearly at its conclusion. Can I get a brief raise of hands? Who is here visiting campus for the very first time? All right, and everyone else has been here before. Awesome, awesome. Do you have any local Austinites here? Woo, awesome. I am not a local Austinite, but I'm excited for you. Thank you all for coming to check us out today. We are the College of Natural Sciences. I believe we have mostly admitted students here today, so our presentation will be a little bit more focused towards that. So to all my current admitted students and hopefully future Longhorns, welcome and congratulations on your admissions to the University of Texas at Austin. If you're a prospective student and you're visiting us today, you're going to get a good feel of what it's like to be part of our college and get to learn a little bit more about our programs, different opportunities, and what kind of that first step into college is going to look like at such a big university such as UT Austin. We're going to start in just a moment, but briefly I wanted to introduce myself and give you an idea of what to expect today. So like I mentioned, we're going to talk a little bit about our majors, but not so much. You already have been admitted to a certain major, you kind of have an idea in general gist of what you want to study. So now we're going to get into the nitty gritty. How do we do research on campus? What clubs can I join? Where am I going to live? Or am I going to be stuck living, out somewhere in the middle of Austin that I don't know? Scholarships, student organizations, additional opportunities on campus, and what that all looks like being a part of Texas Science and a Texas Science student. My name is Leo. Like I mentioned earlier, I am a Texas X. I graduated in 2019 with my degree from the College of Natural Sciences in biochemistry, as well as a psychology degree. So I also did a couple of certificates with my time here. We'll talk a little bit more about what those are. Basically just additional fields of study, similar to a minor. I know many of you have varied interests, so we'll talk about all of that today too. Further down the presentation, once I get wrapped up with my portion of things, I'm going to be introducing you to a couple of current students, as well as a student advisor. They will be answering questions about student life. We also have a virtual segment to our presentation, so we have a virtual audience. They'll be submitting some questions, but I'll try and also primarily focus on some of you folks that have come to visit us today in person. As a reminder, this will be recorded and will be available later, so you are able to take pictures of any part of the presentation. I absolutely don't mind. Please try and get my good side. So if these photos end up anywhere else, I honestly don't really mind, but I'm happy to share and answer any questions you may have as well. So we'll do short, quick presentation. I'll do a quick Q&A with you all, and then we'll talk to the students for a little bit, okay? All right, are y'all excited for college? Yeah? Yeah, I hope so. It was my favorite 4 years of my life. So thank you all again for joining us today. As mentioned just a little bit earlier ago, you've all been admitted to Texas Science, or almost all of you, into one of these 15 majors. So you may see your major up here. If you don't, you may be at the wrong college. But we do have our traditional majors: astronomy, chemistry, math, physics, as well as some of our life science majors, as we tend to call them or refer them to, our School of Human Ecology majors, which is public health, nutrition, textiles, and the human development and family sciences majors. Some of the students joining us today are going to be from different majors. We have a public health student, we have a biology student joining us, and as well as a student in a mix of disciplines. So you may find yourself interested in one field and wanting to do a major in this field, and then maybe want to do another one. So if you're ever interested in doing two types of majors and getting 2 degrees out of your time at UT, it is possible. It's pretty feasible in the College of Natural Sciences. One combination that's pretty popular is going to be that physics and math combination. Students who complete the physics degree also take a lot of math classes. Sometimes they take a lot of computer science classes. So students sometimes tend to double up on these degrees sometimes. Now, if you want to get a degree in another college, let's say you want to do a business degree, or you want to do economics, which is going to be in the College of Liberal Arts, it's a different process. So once you get to UT, you can start exploring that process about getting a second degree. But your very first year, that focus is going to be on your classes for your one singular program. Now, what does your journey into natural sciences look like, and what do we like to talk about whenever you get here? So we want to make sure you feel part of the community. It is a really big university. We have over 60,000 students and folks and staff and faculty on campus. every single day. Summers are, of course, not as packed, but even so, we are located in a big city. It is a ginormous campus, so there's always a lot to do, but it can be pretty easy to get lost as well. So we're gonna put you in a small learning community. These small learning communities are part of our Natural Sciences Foundations program, and what these communities do is you're gonna be hearing a lot about them. So if you've been admitted to Natural Sciences, you're gonna be receiving the Freshman Research Initiative application sometime this week. If you're a biology student, you might also be hearing about our Biology Scholars Program or the Women in Natural Sciences program if you're in any of the traditional science majors. These are all going to be programs that you can either apply or are invited or are automatically assigned to. 100% of our Texas science students get admitted into a small program. And what you do with these small programs is it's your way of connecting with campus before you get to campus. So you'll know what program you're a part of. If you apply to FRI, you'll know by the end of next month if you've already been accepted into FRI or not. And the benefit of being in these small programs like the Freshman Research Initiative, like Women in Natural Sciences, like Texas Interdisciplinary Scholars, is that these student programs have small cohorts that you're going to be a part of your freshman year. So they're going to be about 20 to 25 students at most. You'll meet with them once a week with a faculty supervisor and a peer mentor, or maybe more than one peer mentor. For example, the Freshman Research Initiative has multiple mentors per lab and per seminar. So your first year, you're not going to be left hanging, and you're not just going to have to hit the ground running and figure everything out on your own. The point of these small communities is to give you access to the resources that you need. Your advisors can only do so much. Your friends only know so much. Even if they've been here for all these years, sometimes your friends might be in different colleges and doing different things as you will. So it's best to get the information right from the source. And so putting you in these small programs is how you'll have conjoined classes with other students. So if you're a math student and you're interested in math, you're going to be put in a small group with other math students. Your foundations program is going to meet once a week. You're going to probably take the same math and physics class as these students and do the same your next semester. And that's kind of how you meet your first group of friends. You meet your community for the first time. Some of these small programs will meet throughout all 4 years. Some of them are only going to meet for the first year, but it's a really targeted way for us to make sure that you feel supported. Those small group assignments you will know before you confirm your deposit, before you sign up for orientation. So you'll know all of that within the next about 4 to 6 weeks. So it's going to be kind of a quick pick up and go with everything as far as all the information we're going to be sending out to you if you decide to come to Texas Science for your freshman year. After those programs are assigned, you'll get information about freshman orientation. So our orientation opens April 3rd. That is going to be in about a month or so. So please keep an eye out for that. Different colleges do have different sign-up dates for orientation. Orientation is where, again, you'll sign up for your first semester of classes. You'll meet your orientation advisors and your orientation assistants. So they're going to be the ones that are living in the dorms with you for those 3 days and 2 nights. You'll have your orientation advising appointment your second day of orientation, and that's when you'll talk to your advisor about academic credits, transferring over dual credit, what your degree outlook looks like. You're also going to be formulating a 4-year degree plan. So these advisors are the experts and pros at helping you graduate on time and also making sure you're not taking an unnecessary class, maybe a class that you've already taken through dual credit or college credit. The advisors are your best friends. Now, your orientation advisor isn't going to be the same advisor that you get whenever you come to UT in August. That's going to be a more permanent advisor. But at orientation, the advisors are ready to go to help you get situated into your first couple classes. Typically, students in natural sciences will take mostly similar classes. If you haven't already done so and have credit for it, you'll probably be taking calculus. We love students that have already taken calculus, but it's also good to repeat the class because college calculus, college math is hard. Many students will also be taking either chemistry and biology or physics or the entire calculus sequence. So for the most part, your first semester or two, you'll be taking really similar classes. Students who are in physics and math and astronomy tend to take a lot of classes together. Same with anyone who's maybe a traditional science student like biology, biochemistry, public health. If you're a pre-med student and you're not even in the College of Natural Sciences, you'll still be taking a lot of these natural science specific classes to fulfill those requirements for your degree. Once you start getting an idea of what your 4-year plan looks like, you've come to orientation, you've registered for housing, you've submitted your housing deposit, and you're getting ready to go to come to UT, it is your responsibility to enjoy your summer because that's when things start to get tough once you come for college in the fall. You have move-in day, and the first day of classes is usually the second or the last week of August, and that's when you will start taking classes that very first day. No one's going to ask you to wake up. No one's going to tell you get up. No one's going to tell you to go eat. It is the first day of class. And so things really start picking up moving forward. But again, these special programs will be sending you information. Your advisors will be sending you information to make sure that you're well prepared for that first day of class. And like I mentioned just a minute ago, we like to make sure that our small learning communities have these paired opportunities because it's important that you don't feel like you've been left behind. I promise you, being in a classroom as big as this one or twice as big, the Intro Gen Chem class is about 350 to 400 students big. So it can be a little bit overwhelming, but it's very nice when you see someone in your small program that you've already met during orientation and you see them in class the first day and you say, hey, I'm going to go sit next to you because I know who you are. So that's really what the point of these small learning communities is. Now, I know many of you are coming in as biology or chemistry, neuroscience, public health, a lot of these majors that tend to be pretty popular with pre-health and pre-med students. So raise of hands, who is pre-med? Who is interested in being a doctor, a physician, a PA, a pharmacist? Awesome. Yeah, it's a lot of you. So about 85% of our incoming class every single year, if not more, identifies as pre-med ready or wanting to take an aim in the pre-health professions and health professional programs. One of our main goals in the College of Natural Sciences is to provide experiential learning support. And we don't want to just sit there and tell you, hey, you need to take your pre-health requirements, or you need to do research, or you need to do an internship to look good on an application. We're going to give you the resources to do that. So one of our key offices and central points of support in the College of Natural Sciences is the Health Professions Office. The Health Professions Office meets with students all 4 years. They have information sessions in the fall and in the spring and in the summer for anyone who's looking for guidance and support as they explore being pre-med or pre-health in general. They help with MCAT preparedness or any sort of standardized preparedness that you need, kind of give you a general idea of, hey, should I take these AP classes for credit? Should I take this one at community college? Which ones are good for me to take? When do I take them? What do I do? They help with application prep as well. They are housed in the College of Natural Sciences, but if you end up switching majors and go to a different college, but you are still pre-med, let's say you go to kinesiology or you switch over to psychology, they'll still provide support for you. They meet with all students on campus who are interested in any sort of health professions related field at all. For example, one of our students here, she is pre-vet, so she's probably met with the Health Professions Office 1 or 2 times at least to help get her credits and her application materials kind of gathered and in order before she applies. They also have coaching appointments, so these are supported by staff and faculty as well as by peer mentors. Most of our offices and programs have peer leadership assistant mentors or leadership programs for students to partake in, and many of our offices do as well. The Health Professions and Career Services Office are 2 offices that house student mentors to support current students who are maybe freshmen or sophomores. These students can meet with juniors and seniors who are either already applying or have applied and matriculated into medical school or even graduate school programs. If you're interested in taking a gap year, if you don't know if you for sure want to do medicine, if you decide you no longer want to study medicine or go to medical school, they'll also help with that. They helped me with that. I ended up gearing myself from medicine to I wanted to do research and go work in the industry. So they'll help you with that. They'll help you get connected with the right resources that you need. And one of my favorite things that they do is they also host the Health Career Professionals Fair. So they host a career fair where they bring in different medical programs. They'll bring in all the Texas medical schools. They'll bring in some out-of-state med schools, pharmacy schools, all of these programs to get connected with students. And you can hear a little bit more about what they offer, if they have different requirements, some of their averages for standardized test scores, for their MCAT, their GPA averages, things like that. And then that also gives you an opportunity to kind of get a little bit of a foot in the door, meet with recruiters or their admissions officers as well. So it's a really great resource for you if you're interested in being pre-med. The Health Professions Office is open every day, 8 to 5, but they also do virtual appointments on the weekends. So it's a really overall wonderful resource for you, even if you're not interested in medicine. And to kind of continue a little bit more on that experiential learning aspect of our college, we know it's pretty easy to give you a lecture or a book and ask you to spit out answers on a piece of paper. That's not really what we're going for here. We want to make sure that you are capable young adults that go on into the industry or go on to study medicine or grad school and are very capable of doing what you learned in the real world. So experiential learning gives you that opportunity, and we really like to kind of expound on that in our college. Two really great programs that do this. One, I already mentioned it a minute ago, but the Freshman Research Initiative. It's an enormous program. It's about 12 to 1,300 students strong. If you're in college-wide honors, you've got an automatic spot reserved in the program. And what it does essentially is it invites students who are in undergrad in their freshman year and only in the College of Natural Sciences to partake in undergraduate research. Sometimes research isn't something that's so readily available for students who are maybe freshmen, sophomores, or even juniors in college. You might not even get to experience the lab setting until a little bit later on in your college years. Here at UT, you'll be taking labs from your very first semester, and you have the opportunity to apply to the Freshman Research Initiative. You get class credits, so you can get a free A, basically pretty much just by doing research in the lab, getting to work with your lab cohorts and mentors. It teaches you something a little bit more advanced in a specific field of study that you might like more. If you end up staying in the lab long enough and participating in more research, or even if you just pause your research and want to focus on supporting the newer students in the lab, many FRI mentors get paid. So it is an awesome on-campus job as well. A great program with leadership opportunities. It's really merging that lab experience into a teaching lab while also giving students hands-on experience. If your research, which most of these research are supported by research educators at the university who have 1 or 2 lab contacts. They also are led by a principal investigator, which is another faculty member at the university. They're constantly pumping out different types of research, and so the research that you are supporting in the Freshman Research Initiative can and is available to be published. So many students who stay in their lab for a really long time end up getting published, and that's a really great thing for anyone who's wanting to go to grad school. Also looks really great on a medical school application. And in general, it's a really great thing to be published and partake in cutting edge research. It is a really unique opportunity. It is available after freshman year. If for some reason you decide you don't want to apply and then you want to do it a little bit later on, you can reach out to my office and we get you in touch with the Freshman Research Initiative folks to make sure you can join them a little bit later on. You, of course, don't have to do this, but I think research is a great opportunity for anyone and everyone who wants to try something new in science. I personally didn't stay in research, but I really enjoyed it. I had a publication done in a different lab that wasn't necessarily in a science lab, but I am a former Freshman Research Initiative mentor myself and used that experience to kind of trampoline off into a different experience myself. I'll talk very briefly about the Inventors Program and Sprints, but these are weekly or weekend events run by the Office of Experiential Learning. They give students who kind of have that interest in creating a product or a program, maybe an app, or they want to learn a little bit more about hacking into computers and things like that, cybersecurity. The Inventors Program and Sprints help support students through these personal innovation projects. So if you're interested in inventing something, creating something, kind of that entrepreneurial itch that you've got, the Office of Experiential Learning supports the Inventors Program by giving students either the financial resources or the logistical support to create these products and whatever they might need to do. The sprints vary. There is a class that the students can take associated with the Inventors Sprints. They also work with different corporate or campus partners. So it's a really great opportunity if you're maybe not interested in research, but you just want to create something, hence the name, the Inventors Sprints. Both of these opportunities, like I mentioned, offer credit. There's mentorship opportunities. They have sometimes scholarship support. It's a really, really great thing to check out. And it's great to partake in experiential learning because that way you're just not sitting in the classroom bored all the time. And another thing that's housed in the Office of Experiential Learning coupled with Texas Global. So let's say you come to UT, you love Austin, you love being here, but maybe you want to get away from the heat a little bit one summer, or maybe you want to take a Maymester before you go on summer vacation or something. We have different programs. We have affiliate programs for study abroad. We have faculty programs. These are going to be led by different faculty members in the College of Natural Sciences or in other colleges at the university. There's also international research opportunities that we support with different RE scholarships. So research education scholarships is something that's very readily available if you're ever interested in doing research. We push research so much because we are a Tier 1 university. All of our faculty have been involved in research in some sort of way or are currently involved in it. So it's a big reason why our education reaches out so far, why the Texas Longhorn name has become what it is because we invest a lot in the future. And so our students get to go and Longhorn experience and share that with other research facilities or research programs across the world. For the most part, our Texas Global opportunities in Texas Science are going to be a bit more research oriented, but we do have, for example, an evolutionary sequence class and program led by Dr. Bierner. They go to Spain and explore the Iberian Peninsula. They take classes at the University of Seville. It's about, I think, 25 to 30 students that go every summer. It used to be just a short semester. Now it's a bit of a longer summer program. But again, like I mentioned, with those research scholarships, studying abroad also has scholarships for housing and for tuition. So you could possibly end up going to Spain to study, eat there, take a siesta in the middle of the day after your classes, and do it all for free while getting credits knocked out for your UT degree. So studying abroad is really awesome. It is, I believe, probably the only thing I didn't do at UT. I joined campus orgs, I was involved in volunteering, I did social events, I worked, I did research, but I never did study abroad. And study abroad is available to anyone who wants to do it. It might seem like it's out of reach given the cost sometimes, but typically the programs are the standard tuition price or comparable to the other university. They're usually available to be supported by scholarships and additional opportunities for work study, things like that. So if that's something that you're interested in, we do have a dedicated international study academic advisor. His name is Tim. Tim is an awesome person, and he works with the Office of Experiential Learning. So just to kind of summarize, experiential learning includes research, includes academic outreach and volunteering, studying abroad, and many, many other things. I wanted to go ahead and try and kind of wrap things up a little bit as far as just the general information goes, because I want to leave a good bit of room and time to answer questions and then to let our students have a little bit of the spotlight. But I want to speak a little more personally on my time here in Austin. I come from an immigrant background. My parents didn't go to school, but my dad got a wonderful job here when I was younger. We moved here when I was in kindergarten. I did K through 12 in West Houston. I'm from the Katy ISD school area. And I never really thought about college as an option. I just figured I'd be done with high school, I'd go work, and that would be life. And that is not what life was. I fortunately had the opportunity to apply, and I got into UT. I was not an automatic admit, so I went through the stress that many of you may have gone through about waiting to hear not only did I get into UT, but did I even get into my major? And I was one of the lucky few that did, and I felt very privileged to have done so. I got to share this experience with my family. You students and future Longhorns might not think you're gonna miss your family. I promise you, you're gonna miss them probably by the second day. It gets pretty lonely sometimes, but you're gonna enjoy it. You're gonna have a really great time. There's no better place in my mind, I think, than this university to kind of finish growing up in, because you might think you're done growing up at 18. I promise you you're not. It's gonna take a couple more years. And being in college is important, but sometimes you're either too exposed, it's too big of a place, you're in the middle of a ginormous city, and there's not enough resources to kind of keep you closed in, or you're in too much of kind of a protected bubble. And I think UT has that perfect medium of both. You're in a big city, but there's still enough of a kind of that college town environment on campus in and of itself. We have an incredible and well-renowned athletics program that really bolsters our school spirit, and we really love to take that on and, you know, like the phrase says, take the world by the horns. That's what our Texas Science students do. We are a really great community of smart, brilliant, talented people who are supported by a community of brilliant, smart, talented faculty and staff. And I found the students who work here, the students who work under me, the faculty that I work with every single day, they are world class and second to none. I, of course, am a little bit biased as a Longhorn, as a staff member, as the overall face of the college, but it is something that I'm very proud of. To say that I graduated from this university is probably one of my greatest achievements. I know it's an achievement that I share with my family as well. So if you guys have any questions about my personal background, I'm happy to answer them. To me, Austin is kind of the best place to live in Texas. I do love my city of Houston, but I very much am partial to Austin as well. I'm gonna go ahead and flip over to our frequently asked questions. This is just a brief summary of anything and everything that is related to the admissions side of things. Most of your questions should already be answered, but if for some reason you want to know something about transferring credits or can I apply to honors again? I didn't get into computer science. Can I get into another major? Things like that. You'll be able to find those those answers there. If you're watching virtually, you should also be able to take a quick picture or scan of that QR code, and it should take you to a Canva link with our frequently asked questions. If it's not working, please let me know and we can just send it to all of you directly, but it should work. If for some reason you are unable to get your questions answered on the FAQs page, you can also let me know. We'll have our information and contact in just a second. We do have a variety of campus contacts, but if you don't know who to talk to, our office is going to be your primary point of contact. So that is our information up there. It is the CNS admissions at austin.utexas.edu. If you have questions about honors, if you are an admitted honors student, can I get a raise of hands? Did anyone apply or get admitted to the college-wide honors program? There's very few of you, so woo, awesome, 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 awesome. And if you applied to computer science or computer science and business honors, that is their contact information as well. But like I mentioned, for any of these programs, you can reach out to me. I'm going to be leaving this up here for a little bit. If I could get my, if y'all could come up here really quickly. We're gonna do audience Q&A first, and then we'll do panel. But if you wanna bring that to me, that should be, I'll just take the computer, yeah. And you can have a seat if you want in the front still, yeah. Alrighty. Alrighty. Nalena, could you be my runner with the mic? Yeah, that'll probably be better. Okay, thank you. Alrighty. Okay, so I want to make sure I answer any questions that anyone might have. I know we're coming up on a really interesting time of the school year. Make sure y'all go to prom, by the way. You only get to do it once. Prom is fun. Right now, I want to answer any questions from both parents and students, and I'll be keeping an eye out on our chat. I'll try and get to as many of the chat questions as possible. But for anyone here sitting in front of me right now, do we have any questions about our admissions process, housing, tuition, anything like that? I'll get her and then.
I was wondering like how competitive the FRI and like what the application process for that is.
Sure. Yeah. So the FRI program isn't super competitive. It's available to a lot of students. It's a very short application. It's relatively straightforward. It just asks why you want to do research and why it's of an interest to you. And it'll specifically mention you don't have to have had any sort of research experience. We do receive a lot of applications, enough to where there is a wait list, but students do get pulled off of that wait list. My only big recommendation is that as soon as you receive the application, you apply as soon as that email drops into your inbox. So please make sure you have those emails from UT. Make sure that they don't go to spam or anything. I highly, highly, highly recommend applying as soon as you get the application. So that'll probably be your best bet at getting a good spot in the FRI program. We're not partial to any majors. Any student in the natural sciences who's been admitted, other than college-wide honor students, is eligible to apply. Reason being, those college-wide honor students get a spot reserved in the program. But there's only 150 of those students, so the other 900 or so, 700, 800 or so spots will go out to all regular admitted students. So great question. And then I had y'all, yes.
Okay, so I was wondering, I wanted to meet with my friend that he got a housing contract, but I don't have one yet. Is there like anything I can do there? Do I just have to wait till I also get a housing contract?
Yeah, it'll be, it's just going to be a wait. The housing contracts go out every 15 days. So they go out every 15 days starting either late February or early March. So they should be going out right about now. This might be a better question for housing and dining, but it's of my understanding that as long as one of you has the housing contract, he can put his name down and then maybe your name down, but not until you receive your contract. So just depending on whenever you submitted your housing application payment, that little $50 payment to get the housing contract and put your spot in line, As soon as you receive that, I believe you can both put each other as roommates, and then you'll get assigned a dorm. If for some reason you don't like the dorm, you can put yourself back into the system to try and get a different dorm.
But what if I don't do that about that? That doesn't happen.
It can, but as long as typically I find that if you submitted your housing application before November, definitely before the deadline, before December. If you did it a little bit later, it might be hit or miss, but you should be fine. You may just not get your dorm of choice, but because sometimes they go really quickly, like San Jacinto and Durham are two of the more popular dorms. They're considered sometimes the nicer dorms because they're newer, but Jester is really big. Jester is where I lived. It's an enormous dorm, so there's a ton of dorms. So I wouldn't be too worried. I think you'll be totally okay. Just be patient. They send out a lot of housing contracts all at once. So just every 1st and 15th of the month, just kind of keep an eye out on those housing contracts, okay? Awesome, thank you. I'll go ahead and take that from you. All right. I'll probably just say this up here. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am. Yes, so there are honors dorms, and so the way that goes is, so if you've been accepted into honors or if you've been accepted into Plan 2, you'll be given a housing contract that allows you to choose dorms in the honors quad. And so those rooms are not necessarily different or anything. They're just usually in a bit quieter area of campus and are traditionally and typically first reserved for honor students or Plan 2 students. And it's not just natural science honors, it's honor students across the university. So engineering honors, computer science honors, business honors students, geoscience honors, things like that. So overall, if that's what you would like, that is absolutely up to you. You don't have to force yourself to live in the honors quad. Some students like to live in different parts of campus, so you can still put San Jacinto or Jester or one of the other dorms, but those are going to be specifically available to you. As housing contracts get sent out, if those spots aren't filled out, and they don't always fill up, the honors quads dorms will be available to other students, but that's typically a little bit further down the line, so after most contracts have been sent out. But really great question. Yes? This is a really great question. Usually the math placement exam has to be taken before orientation. So once you sign up for orientation, because you're signing up for orientation through our college pretty much, you'll receive a lot of information about what to do, where your advising appointment will be, and then what you need to do as far as the UT math assessment is. So it's pretty straightforward. It's not hard. If you've taken pre-cal all the way up to that, at least you're golden. I promise it's not going to take too much effort. There's a practice packet that it'll give you, so it's pretty straightforward. So awesome. And then give me 1 second.
Let me know if you see it. The next question, find a good one.
Alrighty. Next question. Yes, it was y'all in the back.
So I have another commitment after school ends. Is there like another orientation day like that's not listed on the website, or like when's the virtual orientation?
The first orientation, I believe, is in late May, and they run through late July. There's one virtual orientation in August. I would highly recommend signing up for orientation as soon as possible for 2 reasons. One, just convenience and accessibility for yourself. In case something doesn't work out, you can switch to a different date. 2, because classes will fill up. So as more students come for orientation, more classes fill up at registration. So those orientation dates are pretty set in stone. They don't usually change. Those are managed by the Office of Admissions.
So let's say like you can't go to those orientations, right? Then is there like any makeup or something else that you can do?
The virtual one would probably be your best bet. And if for some reason that doesn't work out either way, we can work with you to make sure that you get your classes on.
Can I give it to you?
Absolutely. We promise we will not leave you as a singular student to sink. I promise we won't do that. Yes.
So if you're majoring something in CNS, is it easy to pick up like a math major or another CNS, like a major like data science?
So a couple things. So statistics and data sciences is currently not taking any transfer students, so internal or external. So if you're currently a math or a physics student and you want to transfer into that or add that as a second degree, you won't be able to. Otherwise, it's usually pretty straightforward. So it's computer science and statistics where there's either a restriction or just an inability to switch into that major or to add it on as a second one. For computer science, you have to apply for internal transfer. So that would be the same process as if you were switching from computer science to business, but instead of switching majors, you're asking to either add it or switch internally, so within natural sciences. That's pretty much exclusive for computer science because it's a very competitive program, and currently statistics is a very small program. So we're just barely going to be graduating our first group of statistics students from 4 years ago when the major became first available. They're graduating this cycle. So we're still kind of building the plane as it's being flown. So that's why there's that restriction at the moment. But otherwise, let's say you are a public health student and you want to double major with public health and biochemistry. Pretty simple conversation. You talk to your advisor, whoever your assigned advisor is at any point, let them know you want to have a meeting with them to add on a second major. You're usually able to do that. There's a couple of limitations, like I'm mentioning, for example, biology and biochemistry students, very few classes that are different, so it'd be a little bit too easy. We don't want to give everyone 2 degrees. So we do want to make sure you are specializing in something. Our focus is science-intensive focused majors. But for example, if you want to do math and neuroscience, very feasible. If you're a current computer science student and you want to add public health as a second major, you want to add biology, very, very possible and very easy. So good question. Here's a good question for online.
Like how do I get an FR and like tip and like how to get to those small programs, like how to get into FR and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then also transfer it to honors after.
So FRI and small programs.
Yeah. Okay.
So from the online chat, I see that there's a lot of chatter about actually applying to FRI. So what does the process in detail look like? So process in detail, you apply to the FRI program in March. You'll know by this April if you've been accepted into the Freshman Research Initiative or not. If you have not, you will be put on the wait list automatically. So you will still be holding a spot for you in case one opens up. For any students that are admitted into the Freshman Research Initiative, you may be taking a class your first semester of freshman year called Research Methods, or you may not. It just depends on how the cohort you are into gets sorted. But in the spring, so in the second semester of your freshman year, if you've been accepted into the Freshman Research Initiative, you will be asked to explore different labs. So we have over 30 different labs in the College of Natural Sciences, ranging from topics as automatic robots, cancer ligation and genetic exploration, neuroscience research. We have a variety of different labs. It's not just traditional science wet labs where you're pipetting and looking down a microscope. We have labs where you look up a telescope or you're working with different programming languages. So you'll have an opportunity to go on an open house week exploration with other students. You and your other natural science friends can go together to these open houses, check out the different FRI labs. Harrison, one of my current students, actually just did this and joined his lab a couple of weeks ago. You've been in the lab for now 5-6 weeks, I think. So you start working in the lab from your freshman year. That spring semester, you sit in the lab, you get kind of like a lab orientation, you get an assigned mentor, and then you can stay in the lab as long as you'd like. So every single semester, you'll have a seminar with your lab. That's just a 1-hour class that you're required to commit to. And then the rest of that lab commitment is completely up to you. So if you want to work 10 hours in the lab, let's say you want to come in 5 hours on Tuesday, 2 on Thursday, 3 on Friday, completely up to you. If you want to work in the lab all evening or every morning, that's also completely up to you. What you put into the Freshman Research Initiative and into your research is what you'll get out of it. And you can apply, like I mentioned, to the Freshman Research Initiative once you receive that application from the College of Natural Sciences. You only need to fill it out once. Fill it out as soon as you get it. If you don't get in, you'll get in on the wait list. And if you haven't heard back from us at that point, once you're a current freshman, you can reach out to the Freshman Research Initiative office to talk to them about placement and FRI lab. I also saw there was a couple of questions about applying to honors as a continuing student. So there are 3 college-wide honors programs and 1 computer science honors program in the College of Natural Sciences. The computer science program is called Turing Scholars, and you can apply to Turing Scholars pretty much every year as a current student if you weren't accepted. That's exclusive for computer science students. For all majors in the College of Natural Sciences, so all majors from astronomy to statistics to textiles, chemistry, you can apply to college-wide honors again. as a current student 3 more times. So to give another example, Harrison applied to college-wide honors as an incoming freshman but was not accepted, but reapplied this previous semester to Health Science Scholars and was accepted into Health Science Scholars. So he's one of the 50 students for that program this year. So the program for college-wide honors has 50 students per group, those 3 groups being Dean Scholars, your traditional honors natural science students, Health Science Scholars, which is for students interested in going to medical school, and then Polymath Scholars, which is for students who have a bit of a different non-science related interest, and their research is going to be focused on that. So as a reminder, one of the main commitments of college-wide honors, including Turing Scholars, including our 3 college-wide honors programs, is again, research. So these students will all focus on completing a project, a research project, writing a thesis. They take a thesis workshop class. The Dean Scholars work very closely with the faculty supervisor to complete faculty-led research. The Health Science Scholars do a health-related kind of health and society research project where they do I believe it's over 200 hours of work. Yes, ish, it's probably more. And the Polymath Scholars do an independent inquiry. So they do their own study, they do their own field of exploration, they do their own type of research. So it's not faculty-led or it's not led with the group of Health Science Scholar students, it's more independent. You can apply to those programs 3 more times. So you can apply twice your freshman year and once your sophomore year. So if you're ever interested in that, you can contact the cns.honors@austin.u Texas email, and our CNS honors students will be very happy to help out. So do you have any other questions from the audience in general?
No, any other ones?
Awesome. All right. If Harrison, do you want to go ahead and sit here with Anum, and I'll kind of prompt out some questions.
Hello.
Oh, no, just kidding. All right, for kind of the last portion of this, for the last portion of this, I want to take a moment to briefly introduce 2 of my current student workers. They are currently on very different trajectories in their academic journey. One of them just came from lab. One of them just had a lab field trip canceled. So they've been all over the place this week. They've been really great and helpful. On the right, we have Anamba Dot. She is a current senior 4th-year student here at UT. She is a biology Bachelor of Science student. She is pursuing one of the concentrations in the biology degree plan, and she is pre-vet, so she is aiming to go to vet school. She has this really cool vet tech job as well. So we're going to talk to her a little bit more about some of her time balancing class and outside work. Harrison Griffith is currently a 1st-year student, just switched from biochemistry to public health. As we talked about just a little bit ago, switching majors can be pretty straightforward. So Harrison one day told me, I want to switch from biochem to public health. And the next day, his next shift, he was already a public health major. So he's currently also in the Freshman Research Initiative program. He just started. He is from the Houston area, so is Anum. So if anyone's from Houston, hopefully we can talk to them about Houston questions as well if needed. But I just kind of wanted to start off, if either one of you want to answer any of these questions that I'm going to throw your way. What is one thing that you wish you knew before you came to UT, both for yourself and then maybe for your parents?
For me personally, I'm taking 2 field classes this semester, and that's something that I didn't know was available. It's given me the opportunity to really explore Austin and a lot of the surrounding areas. We've actually gone down to like South Texas too a few times. It's a great way to get involved in research without actually being in a lab. You also get class credit that way. Yeah, that's something if you really want to get out and not be like behind a desk all day, field classes are a really great way to do that.
I think that something that I would have wanted to know is just college time is different than high school time. So I know that kind of sounds weird, but you're gonna feel like you have a lot more time to do things throughout the day, and you're like willing to do things. So like on top of my job here, I also shadow a doctor, and then I work as a sports medicine aide for the baseball team, and then I'm taking like 17 hours, and so I'm doing a lot. But you have the time to do all of that, and like on top of being in the health science honors program, and then also an FRI. So just apply to everything, and don't be afraid to really like reach out and like do stuff, and then join all the organizations that you want to. Just really like get yourself out there and do as much as you can.
And then everyone, this is Alyssa. She is a TIP Scholar peer mentor. She is third year, I believe, second year. She is currently a second year student, also in the College of Natural Sciences. If anyone has any questions about transferring credits, by the way, please feel free to raise your hand. And Alyssa and I will do our best to help you with that as far as AP credits, dual credits, and things like that goes. She is kind of the pro and the expert on all of this, but we're happy to help. I do want to ask another question. So a couple of you are in different small programs. Harrison, you were in TIP. Now you're in honors. Alyssa, TIP, obviously. Anam, you did foundation, so you did a bit of a different program. You had a cohort more towards biology and pre-vet students. So we've got a couple of questions from the virtual audience asking, for example, what are women in natural sciences, biology scholars, TIP scholars? How do they differ? Do they all include FRI? If so, what's it like, and when does all of that kind of start for you?
So just to reiterate, there's certain small programs you can get into your first semester that will have automatic acceptance to FRI. So those are going to be, I believe, college-wide honors, TIP program, WINS, and is that it? And BSP.
There's biology scholars. There's the Freshman Research Initiative. There's a School of Human Ecology honors. So if you're a public health student or a nutrition or human development and family science or textiles and apparel student, you can join the honors program by request or by being contacted and recruited by them. So those are also all other small programs. What has your experience been like in your small program if you were part of one?
So, like it was said earlier, I was a part of the TIP program, which stands for Texas Interdisciplinary Program. And so I was in that through my first semester. And the whole point of it is to kind of get you adjusted to UT, like sort of make a big school seem smaller. And so you'll have a 1-hour seminar where it just kind of like teaches you how to be a college student and just general like life advice. And then you also get what's called a peer mentor. And so it's basically you'll have like one-on-one chats with them. And then you'll also have like a group of, it's like 7-ish people. And then you'll go with them like bi-weekly, and then you'll just like get to talk and hang out. Like I went bowling with mine, did some other activities. And so it's just kind of a way that you can make friends or meet other people. But I'm also a part of Health Science Scholars now, which they also had similar things. So they kind of run like an organization on campus in a way where they have like this whole like executive part of it. And then you also have like families and all of that. So every single program is really just going to cater towards helping you like be a part of the UT campus and finding new people inside of your majors.
Great. We have a lot of questions about registration and about, lots of smiles. So at UT, because we are such a large college, sometimes registration can be, I'll use it lightly, stressful, because a lot of students need to take the same classes. A lot of students are pre-med or grad school oriented and need certain classes taken in order to graduate on time. So in y'all's experience, some of you may have had priority registration for a certain small group, maybe have struggled with other classes to register for. What is something that you can give us as far as insight goes for registering for classes and managing the organization of the classes you need to take?
Well, I'm a peer academic advisor for TIP, so I kind of know like a lot about registration, and I've been helping first-year students this semester create a graduation plan. As far as orientation advising goes, each orientation cohort, there will be a specific number of slots available for each orientation so that everyone gets an equal chance at registering. They do fill up pretty quickly and it can be a little stressful, but these small groups will give you priority seats in these science classes, so it's not too bad. And as for TIP, after summer registration, when you're registering for spring semester, you'll also be given seats. So as far as science classes goes for the first semester, it can be a little chaotic, but we try to help mitigate that by giving you priority seats as best as possible.
Yeah, and then
Anam, you were non-small group oriented. How has orientation and finding classes been for you?
So for orientation, I actually did the really late orientation when I was here. My year was also like towards the back end of COVID, so majority of the orientations were all virtual. So I had a much different experience than I'm sure many of you will have. As for registration, like every other year, your first year you might also be in a FIG, a first year interest group. Sometimes FIGs, they'll separate or they'll hold 2 classes, maybe 1 class for you to take through registration. Like you'll put in the unique code and you'll automatically be put into that class. There's no way it can fill up because it's reserved for you. This helps you get classes with people you'll see in your FIG. It basically just helps you find like a small group on campus to be friends with. Other than that, with other registration, definitely don't underestimate the resources you have. Use Rate My Professor and all the old syllabus information that you have at your disposal. It really helps to know what you're getting yourself into so that you're not so surprised once you start the class. It also helps to have a professor that you feel like you'll like the teaching style of and a class that you know you'll need to take. So don't underestimate the help of advisors, for sure.
Thanks, y'all. Kind of a follow-up to that. So classes, getting into the right classes, making sure that you get professors that you like, things like that. What is one thing, and I'm just going to cross over really quick to y'all. Just grab this super quickly. Many of you came in with a lot of AP credits and a lot of dual credits. In your experience, and Alyssa, you work with advising students. Harrison, you've had particular advisors. Anam, you've also gone through upper division advising. Transferring credits, AP credits, how easy has it been for you to be able to get that applied to your degree?
So as a person who like kind of just went through my first year experience, I did come in with a lot of AP and dual credit. I didn't come with any IB, but you know, it works the same. But I came in with a lot of those credits, and it is really, really easy. Just once you have all of your scores ready to send, just you're gonna go on like a website. Well, first go to like College Board or the like program website that you're part of, and you're gonna like individually send all of your scores, and then after you get them, they'll be uploaded to a website through UT, and then you just pay for your courses after that, and then it'll apply to like whatever course, like say like you took like a push, that'll count for like your US history credit, and then you'll get your 3 hours for that. It's pretty easy. And then for dual credit, it's similar. You just go to whatever community college that your high school works with, and then you're going to send in the transcript from that community college, and then it should just automatically upload from there. And so I promise it's not a super hard process, but just from a person who's gone through this process, make sure that you do send those, because once you get here, that's one of those things that's going to determine. So whenever you're registering, your registration time is based off of how many credits that you have. This doesn't apply for orientation, but it applies for whenever you're doing spring 26 for you guys. But however far through your degree plan you are, so let's say you're like 26% through your biology degree, that is going to determine which day you're going to be able to register for, if that makes any sense.
But before you get to that point, you have to meet entry level. So don't get too nervous about that. Each major has specific entry level requirements that you have to meet. For example, certain classes that you have to do for biology, you have to go through your calculus, your intro bio and intro chem classes, and then you'll meet entry level. Before you meet entry level, you'll have a later registration time. So make sure you get your AP credits in and your dual credits in so that you can meet these entry level. Because even if you are 50% done with your degree, but you haven't taken calculus yet, you will still be entry level and be farther along the registration period than other people, if that makes sense.
Really great. Yeah, that's a really great thing to mention, just because, I think that a lot of students kind of get freaked out. How do I bring in my AP scores, my SAT subject test scores to get credit for classes? We know that orientations will come by before you are asked to submit those AP scores through AP Classroom and through College Board. Please don't worry about that. Give us your best estimate of how you think you did on your exam, and be honest with your advisor. I didn't do that well on this exam, or I think I did really well. I've got a good track record of 3, 4s, and 5s, so I should probably be getting credit for this class. They'll make sure you get signed up for the right class. Once your scores come in and you meet with your advisors again coming in the fall, they'll be able to help you figure out if you're taking the right classes or not. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, so for on-ramps classes, they're already going to be in the system. They are UT GPA valued. So if you got an A, you're starting college off with a 4.0. If you got a B, it's a 3.0. So basically the same standard grade assignment for GPA points as they would with a regular UT class. This is going to include on-ramps, calculus, history, and math, and things like that. So yes, sir.
If you took that credit, you need to take the exam to cheat credit.
Alyssa and Harrison, if y'all want to.
For me, I did do government, or I did U.S. history through dual credit. The credit transferred, but I still ended up having to take 1 semester of government, I
You'll
believe.
take Texas government again.
Yeah.
So there's unfortunately no credit for the class, but there's several ways to take that class. You can do it through UT Extension, which is self-paced at face value cost of a regular UT class, or you can take it, you can do it for credit by exam. Pretty straightforward exam. It's really easy. There's study materials online for that, or you can just take the class, which is usually a pretty easy A. So it's not a difficult class at all. If you lived in Texas, it's not going to be hard at all, I promise. They made us take it in middle and elementary school, so it's all really straightforward Texas stuff. But if you didn't do dual credit Gov or history or AP Gov or history, you might find yourself taking those classes again, but it should be okay. No. So no. So go ahead.
Core classes and entry levels are different. So yeah, like for example, again, biology, the entry level will be intro bio, intro chem, calculus, but cores, everyone has the same cores, and that's just along your degree, not necessarily entry level.
And yes.
So this is for most pre-health professions, I believe, as well. So if you're a pre-PA, pre-vet, pre-med, any of those, you're going to have to retake those classes in college. So personally, I took AP Biology, AP Chem, and some other courses like that while in high school. But once you come here, like most medical schools, and I think like 95% are going to require that you take it from like a college institution or a 4-year institution. So like I'm taking Chem 2 right now. I took Chem 1 last semester. But there is a special thing that UT does offer. If you do get a 5 on AP Bio, you can move into the honors bio. I wouldn't be too concerned about this. You have lots of time. But so instead of taking 9 hours of bio, I took only 6, where I took an intro to genetics and genetics class instead of bio 2, and then genetics. This is very specific. I wouldn't be too concerned about this, but there is certain things that you can do with those scores, but for the most part, just leave it alone and retake it when you get here. Other than calculus, take your calculus credit.
Yeah, and that's from the perspective that most academic advisors, and Alyssa, please correct me if I'm wrong, but most academic advisors will find it of a benefit to you to demonstrate that you have that academic readiness for the basic level classes. It's also quite a big jump to go from general chemistry to organic chemistry. That's kind of the big one. So sometimes students will say, well, I won't take all my credits here, but I'll take the one for chemistry because chemistry was really easy. And that's great, but when you jump into organic chemistry and then you're faced with the breadth and the depth of the material of the class, that sometimes tends to kind of recenter and refocus students into, oh, I probably should just stick with this. And it's also sometimes better to start with a stronger GPA. They're classes that are already counting towards your degree. Now, one question that we got from the Q&A online was, do you have to take all of your AP credits and cash them all in per se, or can you pick and choose your AP credits, and how has that been for y'all?
No, you don't have to claim all of your AP credit. I think honestly, that's kind of a con. You shouldn't, because it costs money to petition for your credit, and as science majors, you wouldn't want to claim bio credit and then retake bio, because that's just a waste of money. And then other classes that won't give you any credit in your degree, it'll just be extra hours that won't count towards your degree. So check to see. There's a website, UT has the AP equivalents to what courses that it will count for. So check before you claim, and you can talk to your advisor, see if it's worth it to claim these AP credits.
Yeah, great. And I think that's very true. You don't have to claim all your credits. Your advisor will ask you at orientation and at any further advising appointments that you have, are there any AP credits you want to claim? These are what you've claimed, what you haven't claimed. And like I mentioned, as long as you send in your score report from College Board, we'll have all of your AP credits as soon as you come to UT. So nothing that'll be too complicated, and it's going to be completely up to you independently of your own decision which AP credits you want to claim for your degree. But to kind of go back to the pre-med question, most pre-med students end up repeating classes that they may already have AP credit for. The exclusion of that is usually calculus. I still retook calculus here. I believe Harrison retook calculus here anyway. It's a relatively straightforward A if you already took it in high school. Any other questions from y'all? Y'all have some great questions now. Yes. Awesome. Yeah, go ahead and repeat. Yeah.
If I wanted to do like a language, a certificate, or minor, or however it works, how would that?
I know y'all have a variety of minors and certificates amongst y'all, so.
So there's the BS and the BSA for science majors. The BSA will require you to get a minor or certificate. So if you do decide to do the BSA, it would be easy to just tack on the certificate, and it'd be less upper division science classes. If you do choose to do BS, you'll just add the certificate pretty easy, and then add more classes onto your semesters.
So certificates and minors are going to be completely up to you. We have two types of degrees in the College of Natural Sciences, which you'll again have a little bit more conversation about that come orientation. Orientation is also going to, yes, talk about credits and appointments and resources in your small program, but also what do you want to do with your degree? You're coming into UT as an entry-level biology or neuroscience or public health major, but down the line, you're going to have to pick either a concentration or decide if you want to do a minor or a certificate, along with the Bachelor of Science and Arts. So that's kind of our unique degree in natural sciences. The other degree is your traditional Bachelor of Science degree, so the BS degree. The BSA, that's the degree I received from the College of Natural Sciences. So I did a pre-health profession certificate as part of my certificate/minor requirement for my degree. Now, if I had just done the Bachelor of Science in Biochemistry, I still would have done that certificate, but it would have been in addition to the classes I was already taking, instead of having given me some wiggle room because of that degree. So your major is the field of study that you're studying. Your degree is the type of degree that you're going to be completing. So is it going to be just a science degree, or is it going to be the integrated degree? So that's something for you to think about. Not all of our majors have the BSA option. There's a couple that don't, those being public health, statistics, and biochemistry. So any of the other degrees will have a BSA option. Yes, sir.
How easy would you say it is to make sure you're getting all your course flags while scheduling your classes?
Great question.
Great question.
Yeah. A lot of science classes will have these flags with the course. Also, it depends by semester and what flags the professor wants to include in their course. But for example, a lot of CNS majors will need stats, and that will give you an independent inquiry flag, or labs will have ethics flags for their experiments. Psychology has ethics. I know chemistry has a quantitative reasoning flag. A lot of these classes will have flags, and in your cores, there's, VAPA, visual and performing arts, course that you have to take. You could get your cultures flags through that. It's pretty easy to get your flags. You shouldn't worry about your flags until you're about to graduate and you haven't gotten them yet.
Sorry, just to add on to that a little bit. I just want to emphasize like flags is something that like coming to UT, they'll tell you just don't be too concerned about it because you'll be surprised by like my genetics class that I'm taking right now comes with an ethics flag. I don't know why that is, but it does. And so a lot of them will just kind of like show up, but there's certain ones like global cultures where like you might have to go a little bit out of your way, but most of the time they just will be built into your degree plan already.
And there's not a ton of flags to worry about. So it's usually 2 writing flags, a research flag, which is called independent inquiry, and then there's the cultural and diversity flag and the global cultures flag. So I saw 1, 2, and then I think there was a third one back there. So you had another one?
Just give me a moment.
Yeah.
For the people on the stream.
So what these flags are is your classes will fulfill degree requirements. So think of it as like being a box that you have to check in. Now think of the writing flags or these course flags basically as the same thing, but kind of like a bonus or like a +1 or like an extra sticker that you're getting on your degree for that. So for example, the chemistry labs usually come with writing flags attached to it. Now other majors won't necessarily have a lab or a certain class fulfill that writing flag requirement, and it won't kind of knock 2 things out at once. Some other degrees and majors may have to take a separate class that has a writing flag attached to it. Many of our natural sciences classes come with large writing components. Even in the science classes, you'll be asked to write a lot of papers, read research proposals, prepare some of your own. So there's a huge writing component to our classes. And in general, in college, you have to know how to write. So that's why we have certain flags. There's a couple that are associated with our core, so the visual and performing arts classes. But like I mentioned, many of these are going to be knocked out already with the classes that you take for your degree. And then it's usually kind of later on in your college career, you could say that your advisor will say, oh, you're missing 1 flag. So let's try and find you a class. You might even be looking for classes to take because you've already completed most of your requirements for your degree. And maybe you're missing a global cultures flag. So you might end up taking like an intro to ancient Rome class, and that class will fulfill that flag. It won't necessarily fulfill an actual class that you need to take, but it's going to be a class that fulfills a certain core flag requirement. So there's very few. There's, I think, 4 or 5, so if not less. So, but that's a really good question. And then I think right down here, yes, go ahead.
I had a question about biology specifically. So I know that there's tracks within biology that you can choose for specializations. I was just wondering what the process for choosing a track, getting that track, how that all works.
Yeah, so more or less, I'll let Alyssa and Anna maybe take on in just a second, but typically the degrees that have a Bachelor of Science focus, or if you can do a Bachelor of Science, they will typically have a concentration. So after you finish your entry-level requirements, you'll be asked if you want to do the Bachelor of Science in Arts. If you end up going with the Bachelor of Science, most of our degrees have a concentration in that. So biology has up to 10. There's marine and freshwater sciences, evolution and ecology. I believe that's the one you're completing, the evolution one. There's human biology. The human biology concentration for the biology major is one of the most popular tracks for pre-med students. It knocks out a lot of the pre-med requirements anyway, but also has, in addition, anatomy, physiology, some of those other cool classes. There's a computational biology program as well. So if you're interested in computer science and taking some additional computer science and computational bio classes, that is also a possible pathway. You explore that, again, once you finish your entry-level requirements. So for some of our degrees, that's either genetics or getting up to evolution, but there's classes you have to take before you can take genetics, evolution, all these other upper division classes. So essentially, once you start taking upper division classes, that's when your advisor will ask you, are we doing the Bachelor of Science in Arts? Are we doing the Bachelor of Science? What are we doing? So that's when you can talk to them about your concentration.
Sorry, just a side note, if you were accepted into an honors program, you will be required to do the BSA option for your degree unless it's not offered. So if you're in honors, don't worry about that.
Yeah, and that's for health science scholars. And if you're in Dean Scholars, you're going to be asked to do the Bachelor of Science degree for your major. So any other comments on entry level and getting assigned to your concentration?
Yeah, for the concentration, I'm doing ecology, evolution, and behavior. And it was basically, I spoke with my advisor one day, I think sophomore year, and I have already taken a few classes. He asked what I liked, and then I'm pre-vet, so he was like, this might work for you. So it's really just what you want to do. I know I had a friend who did her concentration in, I think, cell biology. So there's like smaller things, like you'll go through your bio class and you'll be like, oh, I liked this aspect of it. And they'll be like, okay, well, this might suit you. And you can change your concentration. Later down the line, they might discourage that just because you've already gotten so many classes out of the way. It'd be kind of silly to retake a bunch of other classes. But yeah, it's not completely set in stone, so you can like try things out.
And computer science has a lot of concentrations as well. So they have cybersecurity, AI and ML, big data. So they've got many of our traditional bachelor of science degrees have some sort of concentration. Yes.
Sorry, just clarifying about the BSA versus BS thing. For you said the health science and the dean scholars. For the polymathic scholars, is it a BSA?
It's BSA as well. BSA.
Thank you.
The BSA also has concentrations now, and it's not you just pick whatever concentrations you want to go into. It's not like an application or anything, and yeah, you can always change it. It's more so for the upper division classes, so your underclassmen years, you don't really need to worry about that. Yeah.
But good to know that you're considering that and thinking about that. Unfortunately, the biochemistry degree did not have a concentration, so it was just biochemistry.
Oops.
Some of our degrees are like that. All of our degrees do have a teaching pathway. So if you're interested in going into STEM education, there is what we have UTeach here in our college. It is our educational outreach and support for K through 12 programs. You can get your teaching license through it, and that's also the type of degree you would receive. So it'd be a teaching degree. So really great. Any other questions from the audience? And I'm going to peruse at some online. Sure, go ahead.
Can you give us a moment?
We're going to give you a mic really quick. Give him one time. Right.
So I have two questions. So is there a limit to how many credits we can like get credit for as we become a freshman at UT? And also, is there like some classes that we have to take at UT? For example, as a computer science major?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of your question. Yes and yes. There is a limit to how many credits you can have if you're talking about transferring in credits specifically. Yeah, so you can transfer in up to, I believe it's 60 credits, if I'm not mistaken. But I find it very hard that students have that many credits to come in with because you're only in high school for so many years. So there is a limit. There also are credits that may not transfer if they are dual credit or not. That's a better question for the academic advisors at orientation. What was the second part of your question? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I was just asking, are there classes that we won't be able to get credit for? And do you know where we could find that?
Yeah, it's typically it's going to be your upper division classes. So anything that's an upper division class at UT, that's part of your degree has to be taken here. So you can't take, for example, for many students in the biology degree, anatomy and physiology are upper division classes. You unfortunately can't take that at community college and then receive credit for it here. So the curriculum's just a little bit different. Some of those entry-level classes, physics, for example, calculus, economics, psychology, some of the core classes students will take at community college and then have those credits transfer in. Rarely do I find that goes over the credit limit of transferable credits. You also have to take a minimum of 60 credit hours. That's half of your degree at UT in order to graduate with a degree from UT. So kind of a two-part question, but great question as well. Any other questions from y'all? Yes, ma'am. I want to grab the mic right behind you.
So you mentioned advisors and counselors a few times. I wanted to know how accessible these resources are and if there are like any limitations as to how many times we can talk to them.
How many, for advising, Alyssa, about how many times do students you find they typically meet, more or less?
Well, I specifically know about the TIP program, but there's not a maximum or certain amount that you can meet with your advisor. You would just need to book an appointment. Yeah.
The advisors usually have calendars up to about 2 or 3 weeks out, where you can book an automatic appointment with them, either virtual or in person. Most of our departments, not most, all of our departments have drop-in advising during the registration period. So the registration period is usually sometime in late October, early November for the spring semester, and then usually sometime in April for the fall semester. And that's when those advising drop-in times will happen. Especially when you move on to your upper division classes, you'll get to have a little bit more one-on-one advising. Harrison.
So I also just wanted to mention, so like in TIP or with honors, or I believe also WINS, I'm not completely sure, but certain programs you're going to have specific advisors or just those sort of resources. But even if you're not in those programs, you're going to have a specific advisor that you're going to be able to reach out to if needed. But like just from my personal experience, whenever I was switching my major, I visited a peer advisor 5 times in 1 week. Don't recommend doing that. They'll get annoyed with you. But I was able to do that, and I kind of just like walked in, and it was pretty nice. Also, don't recommend doing that. Please just schedule and book an appointment. But you have those people like at your disposal if you need it. So you'll have access to anything if you have like a bunch of questions about stuff like that.
And throughout the semester, I know a lot of advisors do drop-in advising. So just keep an eye out on your email and just join their Zoom, basically, and just ask whatever questions you need. I think it's career services, correct me if I'm wrong, that does have limitations on counseling.
Yeah, so it's the health professions office. So the health professions office limits the number of appointments you can do either per month or per semester to, I think, 3 or 4. But I find it very hard that students need more than 3 or 4 advising appointments in one semester to figure out what it is that they need. A lot of times also peer mentors really help. So people in your own lab or in your classes, or that you maybe or your roommates even. Typically, you'll find your crowd. You will find your tribe here, and they'll help you get also kind of situated with, hey, I took this professor, I took this class at this time. This is what worked for me. This is what I recommend. So resources aren't going to be just on campus, but they're going to be through your peers and through your college friends as well. We've gotten a couple of questions kind of in relation to this. Are these resources ready available? Do I have to take my AP credits my freshman year? So no, like I mentioned a little bit earlier, you can take those willy-nilly as you need. You can claim credit for them as early or as late as you want. And you can continue to take classes in the summer at community college if you'd like to maybe speed up your degree, or maybe you didn't take too many AP classes and you want to take some cores out of the way. That's a good way to do that too. So great question. Any other audience questions? Anyone in the back? Right over here. 1 second. Hi.
Hi, I was wondering if it's possible to minor in something like business if you're in the natural sciences.
Yes, I'm going to let this one very special question hand off to this young gentleman.
Okay. So I actually do have the same interest in business, and so I'll kind of touch on something else as well, like just double majoring in general. But for I think almost every single minor certificate, you just kind of have to like have a talk with your advisor, and that can pretty much just be added. Like so many people do I think it's called business innovations minor, and then there's this one, I forget what it's called. It's like 4 words, but it's something about like healthcare in business. So just like talk to your advisor about it. But just going into double majoring, so if you want to double major in either engineering or in business, so those are going to be like the really, really hard schools to get into, like even for freshman admissions. And so if you wish to double major, like personally, I'm going to try to double major in management through McCombs. And so I have to go through the little like transfer process where I have to like send a little application with an essay, and then I'll try to see if I can get in to get the double major. So that's how that happens. But I also have a friend who's double majoring in rhetoric with biochemistry. And so if you want to do anything through COLA, Moody, probably Jackson, like some of those other schools, you can pretty much just add it on, like go to your advisor, say the word, they'll put it on. And so
You still have to fill out the transfer, but it's more straightforward.
Yeah, more straightforward.
But as far as minors go, the minors only requirement is they can't be within natural sciences itself. So let's say you're a biochemistry student, you can't minor in biology. You're already going to be taking a bunch of biology classes. The minors have to be from a non-science related field, so business, economics, finance, management information systems, anything that's just not specifically science or healthcare related. This also includes engineering. So there's no engineering minors. There's not enough depth in classes that would be able to give you what we could consider a minor in engineering. Now, we do have a robotics minor that's brand new. We also have a semiconductor minor. So those are our science in-house minors. The semiconductor minor and the robotics minor are most popular amongst math, chemistry, and computer science students. So just to kind of keep an idea on that. But again, you would just talk to your academic advisor, let them know at any point in time, this is the minor I'm interested in pursuing, and they'll help you get set up with the right classes that you need to take for that minor. The business one, economics, whatever it might be that you're looking to pursue.
Thank you. And kind of leading off the double major thing, would it be possible to double major in data science and computer science?
So you would only be able to do that if you're currently a data sciences admitted student, because data sciences currently doesn't accept transfers, both internal or external. But if you wanted to add computer science already as a data sciences student, you could apply through the internal transfer process once you wrap up your freshman year. So that first opportunity you'll have to add a second major or to switch your major is going to be at the end of your freshman year. So awesome. And then I know you project like me, but I'm still going to give you the mic. Thank you.
What about adding a second major in, say, like the School of Music, where it has a more complex admissions system?
So that's going to be a great question for you and I to have a virtual appointment with, because this is specifically for fine arts and for music. Anyone who's interested in doing music, there's usually an audition process that you need to go through. There's usually a kind of like a talent aspect to it. So if you're interested in music, this also includes a minor in one of the arts programs. Please reach out to me directly and we'll work closely with the College of Fine Arts to make sure that you can still get that performance experience or have that double major under your belt. This is actually a really great question because one of my closest friends is, her name is Dr. Alicia Lohr. We went to high school together. She completed her studies at UT in vocal performance. So she's a classically trained singer pretty much, but she's pre-med and she took an extra year, but she did everything with fine arts, took all of her pre-med classes, which being pre-med is almost like a second degree in and of itself. She took an extra bit of time at UT, but she finished everything, did really well, and now she's in her residency program. So it's very possible to do a mix of music or fine arts and be in the sciences. And we typically find that students that have that interest do very well, exceptionally well. So feel free to reach out to me. If you grabbed one of my business cards, it does have my contact information, and we can chat with the College of Fine Arts about that, okay? And then behind, yes, awesome.
Would the study abroad program, specifically the one in Spain, help contribute to like a Spanish minor as well?
It would. It would. So with your study abroad programs, you are going to be required to take certain classes, and then you'll be eligible to choose other classes to take. The most popular classes for that specific study abroad trip, the one for the evolutionary sequence studies, is to take Spanish classes as well. So it's also really cool. You're living in Spain, get that kind of actual cultural experience. So if I remember correctly, classes are only Monday through Thursday. So that's kind of cool. So yeah, I wish that was how it was here. Yeah.
Just to touch on something again. So if you do want to go abroad, personally, I knew I wanted to go abroad like the minute that I got here. And so there is a whole department within, I think, almost every single college, but there is a College of Natural Sciences abroad office, and they'll help you like find a program and do stuff like that if you want to, not just like the evolution or ecology one, but there's lots of options there. So if you are super interested, just go talk to them. They'll help you find something, and it's super like easy to talk to them.
And the classes that you take while studying abroad can apply to your degree, can apply to minors, can apply to certificates. So the Bridging Disciplines program also does some study abroad or some domestic abroad opportunities. And these classes are really popular for students who are looking to do like a business minor, for example. And the Bridging Disciplines program is a certificate in and of itself. So there's a lot of variability with these study abroad and domestic study abroad programs that you can partake in. All right, everyone. Well, I want to thank you all for your time. I'm going to wrap up a couple of minutes short to avoid the cleaners coming in here and pestering all of y'all with their vacuums and cool sweeping machines. But thank you all for joining us today. Thank you to the current students. They are very busy, and I'm very grateful for their time. Thank you all for being so kind and respectful to them and asking them great questions. Thank you all for your time. Admitted students, welcome to UT. Congratulations. Feel free to explore campus. It's lively all the way up until like 9 or 10 o'clock at night. If you're staying in Austin overnight, a good barbecue tomorrow, and make sure to bring me some at my office in Painter Hall. That is homework for all of you. If anyone actually does that, I may actually explode with happiness. But thank you all again for coming today. I'll be hanging around for a little bit if you want to ask me any more personal questions. My wonderful student assistants, thank you all so much for your time. Feel free to get up and get going. I know you'll have places to be. Thank you, Elena, as well, for your help and support from afar. And thank you all again for coming today. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.